The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
A very good morning to all participants who had joined us from the United States, and very good evening to everyone else. Welcome to TechGeek webinar series, our endeavor to empower techies. We believe that sharing of knowledge is key to enhance our skills and grow us as a professionals. With this principle in mind, we have initiated a series of webinars conducted by industry experts to give you all a crisp insight of various domains. The topic of today's session is mobile test automation right before your eyes. In our panel today, we have two guest speakers. Our first speaker is Mr. Sairam. He is AVP Marketing for Gallup Solutions. Today he will brief us about the Gallup solution and its functioning. Our second speaker is Mr. Vishnu. He is Associate Test Architecture at Gallup Solutions. Vishnu works to lead, architect and implement mobile test automation solution and services. He brings to work an in-depth understanding of wide array of commercial, open source and custom tools in the area of mobile test automation across diverse platforms and technologies. He is an expert in C-Test, Appium, Sequely and a bunch of other tools. Apart, he also has an in-depth experience in test automation using Selenium, WebDriver, TestDrive, QTP, Test Partners, WebDriver, Python, VB Script, Java, Ruby, Cucumber, Test Complete, VSTS, C and RoboTM, etc. So without any further delay, I introduce you all to our guest speaker. Over to you, Sairam.
Thanks, Gaurav. I take this pleasure to wish you all a very good morning for all the folks who've come in from the US and a good evening to the rest of all from India and elsewhere. On behalf of Gallup Solutions, I take this opportunity to welcome you all to this. It's like going to be an exciting technical deep dive into this solid topic around mobile test automation right before your eyes. My name is Sairam. I run the global marketing at Gallup Solutions. A little bit about Gallup before we hand it over to Vishnu, who's going to be the presenter for today. So Gallup Solutions is a 10-year-old US-based co-located independent software testing services and specialist QA testing staffing services company. Gallup operates out of Dallas and Philadelphia in the United States. And over the last decade, we've been serving some of really large enterprises and independent software vendors in terms of helping them meet and accelerate their core software quality initiatives. One of the prime focus points of Gallup's endeavor is to constantly innovate and invest in R&D around software testing. We contribute immensely to the software testing community through thought leadership, the blogs, the articles, white papers, and webinars. As part of this initiative, this is a webinar that we're focusing on the mobile automation aspect. Without any further delay, let me introduce Vishnu. Vishnu runs end-to-end complex engagements in the area of mobile software test automation, and he's a passionate blogger and authors quite a bit of white papers around mobile test automation. So today's webinar, I'm very sure, gives an opportunity for all of us to learn, share, and interact further. Over to you, Vishnu.
All right. Thanks, Sairam and Gaurav, for the introductions. And so, hello all. It is a great day to connect and share knowledge. So, without any further delay, let's get into the agenda. So, the agenda for today is, listed here. Although there are many things to touch upon when we think mobile automation, we will at a high level consider these topics for today's discussion. So, the key here is that we have considered the most important points and questions that you might have around mobile automation while you are evaluating it. So we'll discuss about the benefits that you'll gain from this session. We'll talk at a high level about the mobile operating systems that are out there and the application landscape. Then we'll jump into the mobile test automation tool types that you have out there in the market. Then we'll have a look at how the object recognition and all that works with some of the tools. And then we'll try to understand a bit about the application architecture for some of the popular mobile operating systems. We'll then get into the details of building end-to-end mobile test automation framework, what kind of capabilities you would like in an automation framework, and we'll have a demo of how that framework works and looks. And then we'll jump into more technical details of what you should consider when you select a mobile automation tool. I'm sure many of you might have the same question while you are evaluating that. And then we'll also discuss whether you have to do mobile automation on a real device, on simulators, on a cloud-based solution. And then we'll also discuss how the future of mobile would be and how automation would also evolve along with that. So with that, let's get into the benefits that you would gain from this session. So after the session ends, you should be able to differentiate between the different mobile application types that you have around there, and you'll also be able to understand the various automation solutions available for mobile test automation. Also, we'll provide you some considerations or guidelines to choose the most optimal mobile automation tool for your automation needs. Then we'll also talk about how we can build a device and operating system agnostic framework that could help you to drive automation across multiple devices and platforms. Then we'll talk about the mobile test infrastructure and what kind of infrastructure you should be selecting for your mobile automation needs. Okay. So just to set the context of why mobile automation is such a complex thing, we'll go over the mobile landscape. So these are some statistics around how the mobile market has been emerging and what kind of operating systems have been gaining business from different users. And many companies that started as mobile first companies grew into multi-million-dollar businesses, and these are some statistics around that. And as you can see, as you also know, some of the most popular mobile operating systems currently in the market are the iOS, Android, and the Windows Phone, right? So when you consider all these, you again have the different versions of iOS, different versions of Android, and different versions of Windows, and you have all these devices that are running these operating systems. So, and each year, as you know, people are crazy about mobiles now, and they expect a new version of operating system every now and then. So each year, the mobile operating system providers try to release a new operating system version, and add to this the types of devices that you have out there: the phones, the tablets, and the phablets, the readers, and the newly emerging wearables. The whole landscape of mobile gets complicated, and when you're thinking about testing these, you have a whole bunch of devices and operating systems, and the matrix is quite complex. And add to this already complex matrix the types of applications, like the native apps, where you build applications that run using the native features of the device, like the camera and the hardware buttons and all of that. Or the hybrid apps, where you use a combination of your native features and then you combine it with the web parts of some of your web applications. That's what you call the hybrid apps. And then you have your web applications or responsive websites that you want people to browse through their mobile devices. So considering the wide variety of devices, the application types, as you can see, the mobile landscape is quite complex. And now considering all these, you will certainly want to automate your tests to have a quicker time to market, because the mobile market is driven by whoever comes first. So this is where, various automation solutions come in to help you. So the automation tools as such can be categorized into three different types based on their architecture or the object identification mechanism that they have. So the three categories of mobile automation tools that you have out there in the market are the tools that are based on the image-based object identification. So they try to capture the image of your application on the mobile device, and then it operates and performs GUI actions on the images. And then you have tools that are purely based on the OCR recognition, where they try to extract the text that is there on the screen of your mobile application, and then they try to perform the actions based on the text recognition mechanism. So initially, when the mobile automation tools started, they started out as either image-based recognition tools or OCR recognition tools. But as the mobile operating systems themselves evolved, they also provided the APIs for identifying the objects using the native recognition, like the IDs or the names or access identifiers or the XPaths. So that way, the mobile automation started becoming more reliable and paying dividends. So at a high level, from this matrix, you can see each type of recognition and how reliable or maintainable it is in terms of scripting. So image recognition, although the support, you have it on multiple devices, the reliability is kind of not that great, and maintainability gets difficult as you keep on adding more and more devices, because each device screen resolution keeps changing. You have tablets, you have phones, you have 3-inch phone, you have a 4.7-inch phone. So the resolution of your images keeps changing, and so does the maintainability of it gets difficult. Also, the script execution is kind of difficult because it tries to match an image on your screen and then perform action. Similarly, the OCR recognition mechanism works well when you have only pure text-based applications, but nowadays the fancy applications, you have a lot of images and a lot of ads running through. So it is not that reliable and maintainable when you pick up a tool that supports only OCR recognition. Also, it is needless to say, when you pick up a tool that supports a combination of image and OCR, it is still difficult for you to maintain your test automation suite, because the reliability is less and the maintainability is too high. So when it comes to native object recognition, so all the issues that you see with the image and OCR are being addressed with the tools that support native object recognition. So that's at a high level the different types of tools that you have out there in the market, and the differentiation between each of them. So now that we have seen the advantages and disadvantages of the different types of tools, let us dig down a bit deeper into the application architecture itself. So two of the most popular operating systems out there is the iOS and the Android. So the iOS applications are basically built using the Objective-C, and it has a certain architecture. It uses the UIA architecture, and it uses the whole Apple environment, the Mac environment, to build your application. You have a restricted development environment, and you need a developer account to build your applications, and then you need a developer account to push your application onto a real device and test it on a real device. So you need all the developer profile and the mobile provisioning certificates and all of that. So iOS started providing UIA instruments along with its Xcode, so that automation could be achieved using those APIs. So most of the open source solutions helping your automation are relying on your UIA instruments for iOS automation. So when you consider tools like Appium or iOS driver, they basically rely on the UIA instruments to automate your applications. Similarly, Android applications which are built using Java, Groovy, are then converted into your DEX runtime, and you can use any Java Groovy editor. And because Android is more of open source, the restriction in terms of having a developer account to push your test application onto the device is not that much. And from Android 4.1, Android also started providing API to automate your applications using the UI Automator APIs for Android. So that is when many of the open source solutions started building tools to support your Android automation. So that is more at a high level how the applications are structured, more specifically the native applications. So the whole UIA architecture around the iOS apps and the Android widget architecture for the Android apps. So this is important for you to understand how the native object recognition as such works, and how you can identify objects on an iOS device and an Android device, and how then you can mix these two to build a script that supports both iOS and Android. Right. So what we'll do now is try to connect a real device, okay, and see how the application or the object identification works on the real device. So I have a device connected here to my PC using a USB cable. So most of the commercial tools that are out there in the market provide you a way to connect your device using a USB or via Wi-Fi and access the device. And many of the commercial tools specifically provide something called a reflection, so that you can see the device screen on your PC, and you can try to interact with the device. Right, you have all this home button and all those hardware keys here, and I can also interact with my device, and I see a reflection of that on my PC. So it is kind of easier when you have a centralized lab and you are accessing that particular device from your PC, test PC. It gets easier for you to work with your applications that are there on the device. So let's check how the object recognition works on an Android device. So as I was saying, the architecture is based on the Android widgets, the whole layouts and all that. So most of the open source and commercial tools provide a way for you to identify the objects on your application. So the basic requirement being instrumenting the application. So once you have the application instrumented and deployed onto your device, you can identify the objects using, as you can see here, the native recognition. It has the class, it has the text and all the properties. So whoever of you had worked on a tool like QTP or Selenium might be able to relate to the the whole structure of your layout, similar to the DOM structure that you have when you try to identify objects using Selenium, or the whole representation of your property and value that the QTP object repository provides. So it is something similar to that, and you have spice for most of the open source and commercial tools. Although the features might differ, it's something similar. Similarly, you can also add your iOS devices. So it captures the serial number of your device, the UDID, right? And you can also see a reflection of your device here, right? So because the commercial tools provide you something called a reflection, it makes your life easier when you're trying to automate something. Most of the open source tools do not have something called a reflection. So if you're considering automating your application on a huge set of devices and they are connected in a centralized lab, and you want it to be easier for you, one of the considerations might be a reflection of the device onto your PC. So you might consider taking a license of a commercial tool and then using it. So here I'm trying to interact with the application on the iOS device, right? So you can see here the UIA architecture that I was talking about. So many of the tools provide you a way to identify the object using the XPath or using the accessibility label or any other properties. Okay, so that was the basic native recognition that the commercial tools or open source tools support. So the architecture of the applications remain the same. So irrespective of whether you are selecting a open source tool or a commercial tool, if you are using native recognition, you will be able to automate the applications. But sometimes there are certain situations where you might want to do a visual comparison of your particular object, and that is when the whole image-based recognition helps you, right? So I'm just trying to create a new object here just to show you how image recognition works. So you can see here most of the tools that provide image recognition capability capture the particular image that you are trying to interact with, and then they also provide various ways of changing the sensitivity of identification of the image. So if you are planning to change the color of your image over a period of releases, you can use options like the color grid, so that you see all the images just in black and white, and then identify the images irrespective of whether you have the same color coding used for the image or you have changed your branding, and so you have changed your whole image color, right? And similarly, you have something called advanced similarity, where you can change the sensitivity from to different percentages, so that you tell the tool that I want to strictly identify an image that is of this much size in particular pixel location and all that, or you can reduce the sensitivity to enable the tool to identify the image irrespective of whether it is on top of the screen, on the bottom of the screen. So it purely depends on what kind of scenario you are running and what kind of validation that you want to make. Okay, so that's about the image recognition feature. And most of the commercial tools also make your life easier, and they provide a record and replay option. So you can record an application in various ways. If it is an image-based tool, you can do an image recording. If it is also supporting native recognition, you can do that. Okay, so let's try to record an application that's having image recognition as well as native recognition. So I'm starting the recording on an iOS device. So it just takes a bit of time to start the recording on the application. Okay, looks like it's taking too much time. Let's try on an Android device. All right, so let's try it on an Android device. So the application that I'm using here for the demo is a banking application that comes handy with the tool that I'm using. So I start recording. What I do is I use the reflection, and I try to interact with the device directly from my PC. So it is easier for me just to type in using the keyboard of my laptop or PC, and then I use the mouse to perform clicks. Right. And I select one of the options, enter something here, cancel it, okay, and log out. So that was a quick recording that I wanted to do. Once I stop the recording, the whole command list of the actions that I've performed comes back into the tool here. Right, so you can see that you used Android device, and then you tried to set some value into the username box, and then you waited for the password field and then tried to do something on that, right? So all the actions are recorded, and you can also see once the recording is done, all the objects that you have interacted with are actually added into your object repository. So it becomes easier for you to edit the object properties in the object repository, and it increases the whole maintainability of your automation suite. Of course, when you are considering just recording and replay, it comes with its own set of challenges, right? So the recorded scripts are usually not maintainable. You cannot drive them through multiple sets of data, or you cannot perform actions like the swipes and all when you are trying to record it. So that is when you start considering building the whole framework structure around in your mobile automation. And there are various considerations that you make when you try to build a mobile test automation framework. Of course, for people who have been working on various automation tools for web or any other desktop-based application automation, already know that you have to build an automation framework that is robust, maintainable, readable, and repeatable, and portable. Apart from that, when you consider building a framework for your mobile test automation, you consider some of the key factors like the mobile automation framework being device agnostic, because you cannot just run on one or two devices and say I've tested my application, because of the mobile landscape that we already discussed. there are a huge set of devices that you want to test against. So you want your automation scripts to be device agnostic, so that you run your application, you build an application that runs on iOS device, the iPhone, the iPod, and the iPad. So similarly, you want your automation suite to also support running on your iPad, iPhone, and iPod from a single script. You just build a single script and it works on all these 3 different types of devices. And then you also want your framework to be OS agnostic, the device OSs that you are considering. So you have an app that you have built out to run on iOS, Android, Windows. So you want to test it, but you do not want to spend 3 times the effort to build scripts on iOS and separately for Android, separately for Windows. You want to script once and run on multiple devices and operating systems. So that should be the approach that you would be taking when you're building the whole automation framework and automation suite. So we'll talk more about how you would build that. And then of course you would want to build a framework that is reusable and portable, not the linear record and playback approach. And you would also want to see customized reports coming out of your test automation execution, so that you can make go, no-go decisions in a tightly scheduled mobile app development environment. And then for companies which are not mobile first but are expanding into the mobile market, they already have a proven product on the web, and then now they are expanding into the mobile market to capture more customer base. They would need an automation framework that helps them automate end-to-end. So they have this web product running, they have the mobile product running, they want the whole automation suite to be maintained in a central repository, and as soon as you build your application and deploy it, you want your automation to kick off automatically. So all of that. So you would want to achieve the whole end-to-end automation. So so these are certain considerations or characteristics that you would look for in a mobile automation framework. So this is a high-level architecture diagram of the mobile automation framework that Gallup has built over a period of time, researching a lot of tools, understanding the architecture of each of the tool, understanding the architecture of the mobile application itself, and the whole consideration of connecting devices in various ways. Considering all that, we have built out a framework which supports automating various kinds of devices. So it is device agnostic, different types of mobile operating systems, so it is OS agnostic. You will be able to perform all your user actions like the clicks, the drag and drops, or the mouse actions, and whatever it is. And you will also be able to perform certain custom gestures you might have built for your applications. And it helps you in testing for cross-compatibility, portability, and all of that. And you'll be able to run your tests on real devices and simulators simultaneously. You can connect to your cloud providers and run your tests on that. So you can do all of that from the framework that we are showing here. So the framework has various levels of abstraction that help it achieve this whole design. So you have a level of abstraction where you abstract the details of the device, operating system, the device type, and all of that into a configuration file. You have an abstraction layer where you take out the differences in business logics when you're considering iOS device versus Android device. When you're, for example, you have an application running on iOS, you might have different structure to your whole menu where you would want to log out from your application. But when you come to your Android device, you have an additional hardware key, the menu button, and so you would want to utilize the menu button instead of creating a menu inside your application for the logout feature. So there might be certain differences in the business logics when you build your applications for different mobile operating systems. So you abstract those details from your actual test scripts and you maintain them in separate libraries. And the way you approach your automation, you have these pre-built libraries that support automating, the application on various operating systems using the similar commands. So the pre-built libraries take care of all your changes in the business logic and all that automatically based on the device types. And then you can also drive your test scripts using test data from Excel sheets, from CSV files, from XML files, or from database, whatever it is. So you can do a selection. The framework allows you to do a selection when you're starting the run to select the type of device that you want to run on. And then as soon as you just select that particular type of device, the whole framework configuration is modified to run on that particular device. So it is a script once and run on multiple device approach. Right. So once you are done running your tests on maybe the real devices or the simulators, the framework then captures all the details and the device logs and the device screenshots and then pulls it back into your customized reports, be it in HTML, Excel, or XML, whatever format you want, and then zip it and just email it to you. And this whole framework, because of its architecture, can be plugged into your existing automation suite that you might have for your web applications, or if you are considering automating your web and mobile together. So this whole framework allows you to plug in these two into a central repository and then attach it with your CI tools. Okay. So what we'll be doing now without wasting further time is go into the actual framework, the actual code. As you can see here, we have utilities built out that support the whole architecture that I was talking about, right? And your tests actually reside somewhere else. And your object management is also abstracted out from your actual test scripts. So you maintain your objects based on the type of device that you're trying to automate, right? So let me quickly run something on the device here. So I have an Android connected. Just going to the home screen here. So I have a single test that I'm running for this particular demo here. So what it would do is it would connect to the real device that is connected to my PC and start the test on the application. So as I was saying, you will have an option to select what type of device you want to run on. Is it iPhone, iPad, Android, or Android tablet? So I'm selecting Android. I say OK. So it automatically configures the framework to get the device details. Let me just do that again. Oops. Okay. Let's see. let me try adding the iOS device here. All right. So I select iPhone this time. So you see that it automatically launches the reflection here. Right. It's trying to launch the application. Oops. And once it launches the application, it starts interacting with the UI objects in the application. So it will type in the username, the password. All right. Looks like something went wrong there, as it always happens with the demos. Let's try one more time. All right. Yeah. Let's just move on here. Looks like the demo isn't going too well. One last try on my Android device and just quit trying it. Alright, so it launched the application on the Android device. Now it will wait for the login button, and then it will try to enter the username and the password. Try logging in. Okay, so as you can see, it highlights the object that it is operating on, and then it starts working. Now here it will try to validate some text, and then it clicks on make payment. It enters the details. So all these details that the script is entering are coming from your test data file, which is being maintained in an Excel sheet here for the purpose of the demo. Right. And then you want to select a country. So there is a huge list of countries that you have. So you, if you have a country that is somewhere at the bottom, you can do the whole scrolling. So I tried to show you how the swipe works there. It also handles all the alerts that your application generates, captures all those details. So once that is done, it verifies whether the balance is updated, and then it clicks on logout. So the test is done. So once the test is done, what the framework does is it generates report in HTML format. So you can see here that it has generated a report with percentages, and when you click on the link, you come to the actual step-by-step detail of what the script was trying to achieve. And it also captures the execution time, which helps you in understanding what part of your application was taking more time. And you can combine these with the device logs and the monitors that you might have placed on your device, and then you get the whole performance aspect of your automated suite. Just for a sample, I also have a failure report here. So when you have a fail, the automation script also captures the screenshot of why it failed. So here I was trying to fail it on purpose, and I gave an input of a country that does not exist, and it searched for the country, and it says the country does not exist. Okay, so that is more of how you can build a framework. So as you can see, we have maintained the objects outside of your scripts, and then you have your whole Android objects maintained under the Android folder. You have your iPad and iPhone and all of that separately maintained. So the tests read the objects and operate on them based on what selection you are making when you start your test. So you can see here, I start the test. I say iPhone, iPad, Android. The framework automatically selects the whole configuration to run based on that. So that was a high-level overview of the framework that we have built. And because this framework is built on your whole TestNG framework and then Java, you can always integrate this with your Selenium framework, or if you are considering automating using QTP, you can have the tool plug into your QTP framework and then work based on that. So you can do all of that. So when you come to considering tools and what kind of features you would need in a tool to achieve automation of your mobile application, you consider the type of operating systems that the tool supports. So there are certain open source tools that only support your iOS and Android operating systems, but not Windows and other operating systems. So if you have applications that run only on iOS and Android, you can consider tools like Appium or all of that, right? And then you have the whole licensing around these tools. The licensing of these tools is kind of complex because most of the tools license their themselves based on the number of operating systems that you want support on. So if you have a iOS and Android device that you want to run on, you have to purchase 2 different licenses, one for iOS, one for Android, and you can connect any number of devices of those types and run. So if you think you have multiple operating systems you want to support, you would have to purchase multiple licenses to support those operating systems. So this is one important consideration that you might want to make. Also, the type of application and the object recognition approach plays a key role here. So if you're looking at automating a responsive website, you can consider any of the open source automation tools. But if you're considering native automation which has a lot of images and fancy stuff, then you would like to consider a tool that has a combination of native recognition and image recognition to combine all of your advantages and then automate your applications. Also, some of the device automation tools support orientation and hardware control on the devices. most of the commercial tools do. The open source automation tools do not support that extensively. So that might be something of consideration for you people. And then you also have the gesture support. Some open source tools do not support it. Most of the commercial tools support the gestures, and most of the commercial tools, although do not support interrupt testing, there are some tools that support interrupt testing as well, where you can do a call or send an SMS and see how it functions. And most of the tools do provide access to the device logs, which are important when you are trying to file a bug after your automation suite is executed. And then one of the most important considerations might be the instrumentation requirement. Some of the commercial tools do not have instrumentation requirement, which is needing you to run your automation tool only on Mac. But most of the open source tools that you consider, if you have iOS application, you need the Xcode project, you need a developer account, and then you will have to run your scripts only on a Mac, versus Android, which you can run on both Windows and Mac. So if you are a Windows only shop, you might want to consider a commercial tool that supports running your iOS, Android, and Windows applications from a Windows machine. So all of these details, we at Gallup had created a white paper around this, so you can go to our website, and read our white paper. You have more detailed considerations along with the tool names which support each of these features. So you can go visit our website, download our white paper, and read it. All right. So moving ahead. So one of the most important questions for anyone considering mobile testing or mobile automation is whether I should run it on simulators, the real devices. Should it be on a cloud-based solution? Should I create my own lab, or should I take a on-premise lab from any of the solution provider? So this is the most important question that many of the people in the management might be thinking about. So for that, you might have to consider certain factors, and based on that decide how to create your test infrastructure for your mobile testing or mobile automation. So one of the key consideration is what kind of tests do you want to perform. If you want to perform the geolocation based tests or the interrupt tests and all of that, you would want to have on-premise cloud, or you want to procure your own devices and do it, because you cannot achieve that through simulators or some of the cloud solutions. And then if you want, you really have to decide what you need versus what you want to test on. So some might be considering, I want to test on all the Android devices that are out there, but that is not an optimal solution for the business. And there are ways where we can reduce or filter down the number of devices that you have to test on to make sure that your application works well on most set of devices out there. So you consider your device manufacturers, you consider your screen resolutions, you consider the operating system versions, and based on that you also consider the usage in the market for each of these devices. So we at Gallup do a lot of research around this, and we have a huge filtering criteria that we use to filter down what devices you really need to test on versus what you really want to test on. So you can write an email to marketing@gallup.net and receive your free copy of the device matrix. And you also would like to consider, when you are thinking about procuring the real devices and testing on them, you might want to consider how long is my testing cycle. Is it once in every 3 months, or is it something where I release my build every week or twice a week? So based on the testing cycle and how many times you would want to test, you would want to consider procuring real devices versus getting an on-premise lab versus going for a cloud provider, which is more of a on pay-as-you-go basis. And then you might want to consider the type of devices as we discussed. And then if you have distributed teams, teams working from Singapore, Australia, the North America, South America, the UK, and you know that you have a lot of customer base around these geographies, and you have geolocation based tests that you want to run, you might consider some of the cloud solution providers to have your lab set up. And then comes in the different network carriers, the 2G, 3G, and 4G providers, and all of that, and the kind of ads that you might want to publish based on your network carriers and all of that, and any of the hardware and sensor based tests. So all of these are some of the considerations that really allow you to decide between simulators, real devices, on-premise lab, and a cloud. So if you want more details around this and help, for you to evaluate what kind of mobile test infrastructure is right for you, please write in an email to marketing@gallup.net. We'll be more than happy to help you with it. So this is the last slide before we get into your questions. So as the mobile operating systems are evolving and a lot of APIs coming through, the whole bunch of wearables that are coming in, the watches or bands or eyewears or shoes, different kind of things, and this whole Internet of Things where your home appliances are using your mobile operating systems, and your automobiles are using it, your buildings are using it for security, and then you have different kinds of devices. Your TVs run on an Android operating system, your treadmills run on Android operating system, and maybe the kiosks that are out there run on Android operating system or iOS or whatever. And then you have these new versions of device operating systems that keep coming. So the future is going to get really rocky, and the mobile automation suite that you build needs to be maintainable because you want to expand your automation onto these set of devices. So we at Gallup work closely with our partners, the tool vendors, to stay ahead of the market, and we do a lot of research on what is coming next in the mobile space, and then we work closely with them to get a solution to that. So also we have done a lot of investment around researching the whole mobile industry, and we have our own cloud where we keep updating our set of devices as the new devices come in. We also procure these wearables or bands and eyewear and all that. So so whenever you need something with your mobile testing need and you are not sure what your approach should be in terms of selecting a tool, selecting the type of test infrastructure, do feel free to reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to help you. So with that, I'd like to finish the presentation, and now we'll switch to the questions from you guys.
Thanks, Vishnu, for such an insightful presentation on mobile test automation. Let us quickly take up the questions now. I request our guest speaker to please read out the question as well as their answer so that all our users may listen to the commendable insights. So here we go with our question and answer round. I request all our participants to please share a question with us. So Vishnu, please go to the question panel. There you can see the questions.
Yeah. So let me try reading out the first question. So the first question from Abhilash Modi is, can we use Appium for image capture in iPhone app? The answer is no. Appium purely works on the native recognition. As I was saying, it works based on UIA instruments that Xcode provides. So there is no way that Appium can capture the image. So if you have a specific need where you have to compare images or do an image validation, sort of that, so you would have to consider tools that support image recognition. So you can reach out to us and we can provide you details, or you can just go and read the white paper where we have the details of the tools that support that particular feature. Okay, Ranjit Biswal is asking a view of the object repository. Yeah, I can certainly do that. So this is one of the tools that we are just considering here. So this is how the object repository is maintained. So it automatically captures the labels that are there for those objects, and then the native recognition properties for that object. And when you click on edit for that particular object, you can see that it has captured the property and the value corresponding to that object. If you want to enable image recognition, you can do that, and because this particular tool provides you an option. When you do that, you see that the image recognition is enabled in your object repository. So the way these tools which support multiple object recognition mechanisms work is, you can combine image recognition and native recognition. So the tool first tries to identify the object using native recognition. If it is not able to find using that, it switches to image recognition and tries to find using that. Yeah. So Samir Sehgal asks, what is cloud-based testing? I assume he's talking more in terms of mobile, mobile solutions which provide cloud-based automation solutions. You have many solution providers like Perfecto Mobile and Keynote Device Anywhere that help you test your mobile applications on a cloud-based test infrastructure. So you can visit their websites to understand more about it. So yeah, Abhishek Sharma is asking, can you suggest a tool which supports interrupt testing? If you are considering some of the commercial tools like CTest from Experitest or Perfecto Mobile solution, they have a way to do your interrupt testing by sending SMS or generating a call. So you can look into the features of these two tools specifically. Abhishek Swain is asking, are you using Experitest Java APIs for the framework you showed? Yes, absolutely we are. But the framework does not necessarily depend on a particular tool. The framework can also be integrated to use the Appium driver or Selendroid driver or iOS driver based on the kind of tool you would want to use. The features of the framework remain the same. The way you would maintain your objects, the way you would maintain your test data and all that would remain the same. So Gauss Pasha Sheikh is asking, how can we automate Google Maps on any phone? So that's a really good question. So these are some kind of applications where you would want to consider image-based recognition mechanism to automate your scripts. A part of it you would automate using the native recognition. So you fill in the details of your location and your destination, and then you search, and you have this map that comes up, and that is where you have an image that you want to compare against. You can use that to automate an application like that. Sri Harish is asking, can we execute automation suite on different platforms at a time? Yes, indeed, we can execute, the whole framework that I was showing. The reason we built out such a framework is you can execute your scripts on, your iOS, Android, Windows simultaneously in parallel based on the kind of, licensing that you have or the kind of tool that you are using. So yes, definitely it can be done. Yeah, so Abhishek Sharma is asking in specific if there are any open source tools to perform interrupt testing. The answer is no currently, but there are certain APIs and there are certain services that you can use to do it, but I really doubt if those services are open source. So I think those are the questions that I have received.
So there is one more question, Vishnu. Can you please take that one also?
Okay. So can toast message be handled with, I'm not sure.
I think question is incomplete,
understand.
right?
Sorry?
Is the question is incomplete?
I believe it is incomplete. I'm not sure I understand that.
No problem. Again, so we have got the correct question
so
again.
Abhishek Swain is asking, can toast message be tested? Abhishek, I'm sorry, I do not know what a toast message is. So I'm not sure if that can be automated using any of the tools. Yes, indeed. So Samir Saigal is asking, can we handle chat process of mobile testing? Yes, indeed, it can be handled. It depends on the way you, handle that in your framework. But yes, it can be done. So if you have mobile 1, which has your Google Hangout running, mobile 2 having the chat window, then you can chat between these two and validate. Mahesh C is asking, does the script run on mobile web as well, or separate script to be written for web? So Mahesh, it depends on what kind of tool you are using. We have built solutions where you have a single script that runs on both mobile web as well as desktop web, as long as the functional flow is similar. And just as the way we maintain different object repositories for Android device or iPhone device for mobile native automation, we maintain different object repositories for your desktop web and different object repository for your mobile web, and you can achieve automation using a single script. So Gaurav, any more questions that we have?
I think, Vishnu, we are done with the question and answer part.
All right.
Right. So
I think it's been quite a good session. We appreciate all the participants and more so the questions which enlighten us and allow us to dig a deep little more and share with whatever we know. This has been a great learning session for us, and we look forward for many such on behalf of Gallup. Thanks everyone for being there. Further questions we could take offline, and we'll be more than happy to connect and see how we can share each other's knowledge. Thank you so very much.
thank you, Sairam. I am really thankful to our guest speaker for conducting this webinar. It was indeed a great session. I would also like to thank all our participants for their support in making this webinar a success. The recording of this webinar will be available on our website, that is techgeek.com, by tomorrow. Thank you all. Have a good day. Thank you, Sairam. Thanks, Vishnu, for conducting this webinar.
Thank you all. You have a good evening and a good day.
Thank you.